No bones, open this joint. Welcome to the motherfucking show. I am Abandoned Nihilism. It helps when you turn things on. Microphones work when you turn them on. Welcome back, Leon. Long time no see. Hope you're going well. Crazy things been going on in the UK, though. Yeah. Your Labour Party is a neoliberal party, as predicted. Well, I wasn't gonna do it I wasn't gonna do UK news at first, but you're here. The big boy Leon is here. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. This happened several weeks ago, but your goddamn Labour Party, dude. So this happened several weeks ago. I just want to get this out of here. Yeah, this is great. She gets fucking lettuce. She's talking about it. She's such a failure.
People do vote on Bill Clinton's advisors.
I think the timing of it, too, the slow descent.
He will.
Does he know what's going on?
On that. I've got a load of Trump questions, by the way.
Bye. This is how characters like Liz Truss should be treated. Seriously. The whole concept of losing your career because you're bad at it has been completely erased from politics. This is essential. Okay? This should have happened to the Bush administration. This should have happened, frankly, should have happened to Barack Obama. But you shouldn't be able to commit crimes. You shouldn't be able to lie to your entire country and be entered back into civil society, you know, be entered back into legitimate society. You know, like you didn't just puke all over the place. You know, you got puke on your mouth, and we're just supposed to like, oh, it's okay. Well, you did your best. You know, and that's what we're doing to George Bush. Oh, shucks. Don't you remember how things were with George Bush? I remember George Bush. Because I'm a million years old, apparently. Children on the internet. So, talking about the Labour Party, disappointing Labour Party. I mean, where to even begin? Keir Starmer, I mean, like, the social media roundup, you know, the social media. Look, I agree. Like, if you're making terrorist threats on social media, you should get your door knocked on, right? You should be investigated. Okay? Going way too far with it, though. Going way too far with it. that's just one thing. And here, I've talked about this since before he was elected, Keir Starmer. But they took taxing the rich out of the manifesto. They shifted it into all growth all the time. That's the only thing we're going to focus on: growth, growth, growth. So I guess that means giving bankers, oligarchs, corporations big fucking breaks. And we're going to go down in flames. We're not going to talk about taxing the rich. We're out of money. We're going to be cutting services like Tories do. And we're still not going to talk about taxing the rich. And here, this clip perfectly exemplifies it. Here, Rachel Reeves is literally, she is quoted, she is quoted herself. She is quoted by herself. Literally, someone quotes herself to her. Wow, Leon, thank you. You know, that's why I like you, Leon. A little bit of, because I know you were, the election, you were like, we got to get these guys in. You worked very hard. You worked for the Labor Party to get them in, right? I think you even, beat the sidewalk there. You knocked on doors. You did the real work. So I understand, you put a lot of work into this, but I do appreciate you not being a blind partisan to what is happening. And what it's shocking to me. It really is. It's like, I guess they think, rip the Band-Aid off now. Let's do all the bad news all up front, and then we'll have 3 years or 4 years, however long, to the next election to kind of, show people that this was the right idea. Last time I checked, though, we've tried this kind of austerity in the past, and it didn't work so well. Am I wrong about that? This kind of austerity has been tried before, cutting services. It sounds very Tory-esque. But anyway, this clip perfectly exemplifies it. She's literally being quoted, her from the past, and she's arguing against herself because, these politicians, they don't really fucking mean anything. They don't really believe in anything. It's like, oh, okay, well, this is the plan. This is the strategy. It doesn't matter that I'm contradicting myself from like 6 months ago or a year ago. I don't know how old the quote is, but it's not, her 19 years old in college saying something like, I love the Communist Party or something like that. It's probably just a couple months or years ago she said this. And now it's a total 180. Oh, no, we can't tax the rich. Can't tax the rich. This is shocking stuff. Listen to this.
A quote here from a pretty prominent economist, and they say that Labour needs to provide an alternative to aggressive policies being prioritised by the Conservatives. The banks and those earning more than £100,000 could quite easily contribute a little more, and unless they do, inequality and poverty will inevitably soar in the months and years ahead. Do you agree with that statement?
The way that I believe that you can reduce inequality, reduce poverty,
no.
and actually also...
So it's actually, she said, she didn't say it, but she's no, and now she's arguing against herself, just to let you know.
Improve the living standards of ordinary working people, not in poverty, but struggling to get by, is through growing the economy.
The economist that she quoted, that was actually you.
Well, look, I want to reduce poverty and inequality. I didn't go into politics, but how do you do that? What are the practical
well,
things
your
that we can
suggestion
do?
in that quote was to tax the banks more and those earning more than £100,000 more, but you've gone back on that.
Well, look, the way that I think that...
And I don't even think you should target 100,000. That seems kind of, it should be 500,000 and above. 100,000 a year? That ain't shit. Quite frankly, I know your currency is worth more than the dollar, I think, still, or is that not the case anymore after Brexit? So maybe the pound is worth more, but 100,000 a year? Could you even secure a mortgage? In some places, no. You couldn't save up enough money to secure a mortgage. Welcome back, Ice King, Carl Toes.
We can lift people out of poverty and reduce inequality, as I say, is to get the economy growing.
It's all about growth. It's all about growth. Growth. And apparently growth means letting, not taxing any of these incredibly successful corporations. Oh, is the assumption that the money goes back into the company to make it better somehow? Like this is some video game or something? Like it could just exponentially get betterer? The money goes right into the fucking pockets of rich idiots who spend it on, yachts within yachts within yachts. And of course, that's not the case for all of them. Not all of them are super mega rich, Maybe that's not the best example. But, it's hoarded or it's spent on luxury items. That like one auteur artist made this $500,000 painting, or they buy a cyber truck. Tax the rich and give tax cuts to the poor. Leon, yeah, when do you think labor is going to come to earth and realize this? They cut it out of the manifesto. I was warning about it. I showed the Sky News interview where Keir Starmer was asked, hey, why are you cutting this out of your manifesto? And he goes, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. It didn't make any sense. It was literally a non sequitur. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. How come you took the money out of your manifesto? Why did you? Because we can't afford it. It was nonsensical then, and it continues to be so. I'm fancy lad, boy. What do you want me to starve in my $10 million mansion? God damn you, Tisrael. That's a good point. One of these days, I'm going to show this video, which is a breakdown of the right-wing riots that occurred. Totally taking advantage, of the new person in charge and cynically taking advantage of a tragedy that wasn't even committed by an illegal immigrant or a migrant. So utterly ridiculous. Right-wing riots of under 1,000 people at a time. What are we denying? Is that what we're doing now? We're denying that this is a fucking riot? Look at this. Media is overblowing
Hotels
it.
housing asylum seekers set on fire. Mosques and immigration centres targeted nationwide. Violence.
Media's overblowing it.
Mosques and immigration centres targeted nationwide.
Yeah, and they have been arrested and jailed. This is, I don't necessarily disagree with some of the sentences.
Violence, racist attacks, looting.
Media's
Police
overblowing it.
overwhelmed, injured, communities terrified.
Media's overblowing
A wave of unrest started after...
No, these were riots all over the fucking country. Okay, you live in Ukraine, dude. I don't even know what benefit. I don't even know what you're... Okay, that's just your opinion. We're just going to let that be. I think labor is trying to play technocratic center-left politics and try to stop populism and stop populism. Why? People love populism. Especially if you follow through on your grandiose promises. People really love you. That's how you get statues made for you. Being a populist and then delivering. I feel like this just won't work, as we can't fix these things through liberal centrist policies. It's a balance, enter the center ground while trying to implement proper change. I think we have messed it up. But hey, it's early in the term. We got lots of time, and we got to try our best. Do you think Keir is trying his best? I mean, he clearly has a plan. He's a little bit of a tyrant, though, I got to say. A little bit of a grumpy tyrant. I do agree. I mean, the sentencing is pretty. One thing I don't agree with, though, is the climate. The Just Stop Oil person getting 7 years, and these rioters getting 2 or 3. That doesn't make a fucking lick of sense to me. Is that we need to actually pay more attention on how the police is handling it? Okay. Yeah. No, let's not pay attention to the cynical use of a tragedy for political purposes. Let's not look at the xenophobia and racism. Let's not look at the fact that it's not migrants that's causing the problems with the British economy. It's Brexit, that dirty thing we can't talk about. Yeah, no, let's look at the police. The incompetent police who didn't do everything. Okay. All right. I mean, yeah, sure. It should be on the list, because I do agree. I was criticizing them myself when I was seeing it. I was like, where the hell is everybody? Like 6 cops, and you got 40 fucking, you got 4,000 people running around lighting shit on fire. So, but yeah, let's ignore all those other things. I guess. Maybe that's not what you're saying. You're pissing me off. It's early in the morning and you're pissing me off. That's my own fault. So anyway, there was a massive, massive pro-Palestine protest in London Over 1 million people gathered in London. I don't know, Leon, if you were there. This sounds like something maybe you were down for. But this represents 1/8 of the population of London. It's one of the largest protests in the history of Great Britain. So that's actually really something else. What if I popped you off? Pooped you off? Everyone pisses me off, literally. I'm that guy. He's handled the situation mixed. He canceled this holiday to solve many crises like prisons and riots. Yeah, I remember that was good. That was a good move. Yep, coming home early. However, he was shown to be too dictatorial. Yep, I totally agree. It's too early to condemn him, but I watch cautiously. We seriously can't afford average labor MPs right now. We need to do well. 100%, Leon. The grifters, bad actors, the Nigel Farages, the Jacob Rees-Moggs, they're all ready. They got the narrative. It's starting to stick. They're starting to chip away. The honeymoon is well over, but they're starting to now successfully chip away at labor's legitimacy and veneer mere months after a historic election where, you know, the same exact party that's now chipping away is, you know, embarrassed themselves for 14 years. 1 million. That's historically insane. Cool. I agree, Nematode. Let's go ahead and watch the footage. Oh, you were in Cornwall. Massive respect to those who showed up. Wow. Yeah, this is huge. Fill that whole bridge up, man. Absolutely. That's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it right there. That is how you do it. Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Let's keep it up. It's you know, Britain making a stand and isolating the United States as the only entity fully supporting Israel would mean a lot, because this whole debacle started because of the arrogance of the British government. So the British government coming out and saying, removing all the weapons, not just 30 out of 350 or something, all of them. Stop giving them anything, cutting them off completely the way that they deserve to, forcing the United States to pick up all that slack. And, of course, making the statement that, okay, we admit it, we were officially wrong. I guess it was a bad idea to just give over give over a chunk of a country to a random group of Zionists after World War II. I guess it wasn't a good idea, guys. You know, it's like you could still defend the existence of Israel while also admitting that the creation of Israel was a total fucking disaster. And it's complicated, but, you know, you don't, one plus, you know, one doesn't mean the other, right? You can acknowledge that the whole situation is a disaster from the very beginning, but you can admit that, well, we're in a little too deep. Israel exists. Okay, that's just a fact of life. What we need is a compromise. And of course, the Western elements need to do that compromising to force Israel to do that, because it really does seem like this is a massive mistake they made in the 40s that they're still trying to cover up. You know, they're still trying to legitimize this incredibly bad decision made by people that have died long ago, and they're like in too deep, and it's like, well, if we admit this, then we have to admit that, and if we admit that, then we have to admit this, and the whole thing, the whole facade shatters if we admit that this has been a failed experiment from the very beginning. But honestly, that's the only way to start actually fixing it, is for the West to admit this has been an unmitigated disaster of their making. So I guess it'll never fucking happen. You still have stolen jewels in the motherfucking crown, okay? You still got mistakes your empire made centuries ago, and you're flaunting them. Right? I mean, giving them the piece of the land wasn't the mistake, but backing them in the takeover no, it was a mistake. It wasn't theirs to give. The entire concept that it was theirs to give is a colonialist mindset that has been outmoded for centuries. But if you want to be friendly about it, decades. We're seeing Russia exemplify this, this extremely old colonialist attitude, and it's a fucking joke. Rolling in with your fucking military to take it over. No, it was a mistake from the very beginning, but that doesn't mean that, you start chanting from the river to the sea and let's eliminate Israel. It's not going to happen, folks. We need to compromise. Both sides need to compromise. But one side does need to compromise more, and that side is absolutely the West. So this made me absolutely sick. This character here named Tom Sawbrick couldn't lick boots hard enough for the Keir Starmer administration for all of their incredibly heavy-handed actions. Has no problem defending the extreme sentences given to Just Stop Oil, but 2-3 years or less to people who tried to light buildings on fire and kill the people within. Okay, Tisrael, hot takes, buddy. You got hot takes like I need some hot cakes, man. I need some breakfast. So this was really disgusting, but this is related to the right-wing riot thing that I was talking about. So why did I close that other? I guess I'm not going to do it. Whatever. I guess I'm not going to talk about the right-wing riots. Fuck it. It's over. This is the statement that's most important about the right-wing riots, though. So let me just let this guy speak for me instead, because I agree with him wholeheartedly.
I'm a real patriot, me. A British man who knows what's crack. And I'll tell you what I'm thinking. Send the buggers back. Nay, I won't address root causes. Let's find scapegoats to give all at flack. They're telling me it's fault at vulnerable. Send the buggers back. How can I be racist? Some of my best mates are black. I'm not talking about them uns. Just send rest at buggers back. Not them propping up social care or them doctors and nurses taking up slack. But I can do without all rest. Send the rest at buggers back. Not footballers or GB athletes representing us on track. They don't count as immigrants. Send rest at buggers back. So what if I smash up Greg's? Rioting gets me hungry for a snack. A vegan sausage roll. I'll send that bugger back. What do you mean, according to Office for National Statistics, net migration as a percentage of UK population accounts for less than 1%, and that less than 3% of that 1% arrived on a small boat? Who are you to check my facts? I listen to rhetoric, not reason. Send the buggers back.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Poetry. Love it. I love it. It's hypocrisy. It's cynical politics, right? Because the right wing, the Tory party, they know the reality. They understand the numbers, they understand the stats, but they also understand that there's a knee-jerk reaction to it. It's the fear of the unknown, strange culture, strange people. They look at me weird when I walk down the street sometimes, and makes me uncomfortable. It's natural. That fear is natural, and they're instead of saying, instead of trying to heal society, instead of trying to say, hey, these are human beings. There's a natural trepidation, but it's not as bad as you think. We're pretty much the same, just with a few, eccentric differences. Instead of doing that, they take advantage of that fear and they catalyze it and amplify it because, fear gets you to click. Fear gets you to turn your head. Fear gets you to pay attention. It works. Politically, it works. But it's incredibly cynical. What's even worse, though, is when the alternate party, when people finally say, I've had enough, and they get the other party in, and life doesn't get better, things get worse. It's bad news. The Labour Party has a lot of work to do. And my God, is that honeymoon over? It's shocking because it feels like it just happened yesterday. Am I excited for the Apple event? Yeah. I'm an IT guy. I fucking hate Apple. They solder RAM to the motherboard. And then they started soldering storage to the motherboard. You know how many computers I had to send back, like a USB port would break, and I have to tell somebody, oh yeah, we got to replace your hard drive because a USB port failed on your computer. Yeah, you might as well just get a whole new computer. All right, so we're done with the UK. It's pretty. The Labor Party's got some work to do, dog. But we got to talk about these death traps, and I'm not exaggerating. These things are fucking death traps. Of course, I'm talking about the Cybertruck. They are at fault at everything mentality, and the right always takes is not the excess. Yes, yeah, Tisreal, 100%. Exactly, Tisreal, 100%. So look at scary. Let's chat. Look about, yeah, strategy member, totally. Pro version. I can't believe that there are third parties making accessories for this fucking boondoggle. That Tesla has to be losing an incredible amount of money on this. And maybe they just haven't realized it yet, right? Maybe the chickens haven't come home to roost yet on this. We're done with the UK. Is that what they said? Yeah, exactly, Ford. Exactly. Done with the UK. It's not a joke, by the way. It happened for real. Yeah. They're also offering a big ass floodlight that I guess was part of the package originally that just they haven't finished yet. They literally, so they say come back in, you'll get a free floodlight, but they can't install it. They can install it physically, but they can't plug it in. You have to plug it in. Plugging it in voids your warranty and makes it illegal because it's illegal for you to have this massive floodlight to use it on the road. It's apparently for like trekking through the jungle, which you would never do with your Cybertruck because of shit like this. Look at this. This is from a mechanic. Here's the reason Cybertruck real wheels are breaking so easily. And if you've seen enough of these Cybertruck pictures, you'll see the tire, which is supposed to be has like its own independent axle. It's supposed to be all fancy, cable steering and all this shit. Snaps. It fucking snaps under not even that much torque, not even that much use. You hit a pothole wrong, goddamn thing snaps, and then your wheel is hanging out. So it's been happening to a lot of Cybertrucks. Here's why. Here's the reason Cybertruck real wheels are breaking so easily. Their rear tie rods are undersized for any truck, but especially a 60,000 pound truck with huge wheels. These would normally be used on cars or minivans. This is probably, I have a Honda Fit. This is probably the same thing for my Honda Fit. It is an absolute joke to say that these things are made for the apocalypse, toughest, most rugged truck ever made. The motherfucker needs to be sued for saying shit like that. It is so demonstrably false that these trucks are rugged in any way. Okay, you thought the Escalade was a joke, right? The Escalade looking like a big fucking, or a Hummer, right? A Hummer I'm gonna take my Hummer, off road, and it's basically a bunch of plastic with a bunch of cheap fucking parts in there, like a bunch of minivan parts in the Hummer, right? Look at a breakdown of the Hummer, right? Okay, it's a joke, right? It's exactly the perfect car for the people who drive it. It's a fucking poser mobile, looks tactical, looks rugged. Plastic flying off everywhere. You try to do some off-roading with a Hummer. Well, this is like that, except even worse, man. Because you could probably do some off-roading on a Hummer and still drive it home. How many videos have you seen of the Cybertruck going off-road in some of the simplest of conditions? 4 inches of snow. And completely shitting the bed. I'm talking embarrassment. I'm talking you got to get a real truck from 40 years ago to pull you out of a ditch that any vehicle should be able to get out of. The deaths are starting, by the way. People are starting to die from these things because they're a fucking death trap. So it's very likely that the person described in this video couldn't get out of his vehicle. The battery was punctured. Electricity to, power on the vehicle shut down. That means you can't open your doors. There is a some kind of special hidden physical release on the door that's not very well advertised, right? Because it's like Elon, he wants to hide everything, right? Disrupt the market by making things incredibly unsafe. So that is probably what happened here. The guy hit a ditch, punctured his battery, powered down, car lit up, turned into a motherfucking, what was that? What's that torture bowl? What is it called? The golden bowl? Brazen bowl. Basically turned the Cybertruck into a brazen bowl. Right? And if you don't know what that is, it's this brass bowl that you stick a human being inside, and then you light a fire underneath, and then sounds pretty disgusting. Sounds pretty horrific, right?
There's been the first fatality wreck with a Tesla Cybertruck. It happened right here in Houston, just southeast of Houston in Baytown. Actually, it was a single car collision, and the driver of the Tesla truck ran off the road into a ditch, collided with a concrete culvert. Impact pierced the battery compartment, and the metal hitting the lithium-ion battery caused a chain reaction. The entire truck went up in flames. It's approximately 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about half the temperature of the surface of the sun whenever these lithium-ion batteries.
So these lithium-ion batteries are nasty. Fire departments have to have special equipment just to put out a Tesla, electric vehicle fire. It's not just Tesla. It's any electric vehicle. Anything with a large lithium-ion battery is gonna they burn fantastically for hours and hours and hours. Things will calm down for like an hour, and then all of a sudden, like a big spark will explode out. Like it's still going, it's still reacting. Really nasty stuff.
Batteries catch fire. The entire truck, which is made out of stainless steel, was completely melted. They couldn't even identify the vehicle. The only person in the vehicle was the driver, and they were incinerated alive, which is very, very sad. It's even prompted a federal investigation into the Cybertrucks.
Oh yeah. This boondoggle. Tesla is not protected like Boeing. Okay, this is not Boeing watch. This is motherfucking turd watch. Okay, this, sell your Tesla stock right now. Okay, this Homermobile is going to ruin the company. And thank God, I'm so sick of these fucking Teslas. One of the most ugly motherfucking vehicles I've ever seen in my life. They're so generic. I'm sorry. They look like shit. Yeah, I'm talking about the S. I'm talking about all of them. They look like shit. Looks like generic shit. Or ridiculous shit. Like, you can't call the Cybertruck generic. That's not fair. But you certainly can call it shit. So anyway, who do you think's going to win, folks? So this is a viral video trend. These people have done this several times. They build a vinyl fence, and then they run a truck through it to see, okay, what does it do, right? Like, what if you smash through, right? Most trucks, it just has cosmetic damage. They get some shit, jammed up in its, maybe the radiator gets punctured, maybe, right? Most trucks survive this. What do you think happens to the Cybertruck? Apparently the most rugged truck ever made. The truck that's guaranteed to, save you in the apocalypse. Who do you think's going to win? All right. It's a vinyl fence. It's not even wood. It's vinyl. Those are hollow posts. Those are hollow posts made of vinyl. I've said this before, I'll say it again.
This is, without a doubt, the worst vehicle to have in the apocalypse. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. You're totally effing screwed in the apocalypse with this vehicle. All right, so that's what I wanted to say about the cyber shit this time. I'll have more. And like I said, sell your Tesla stock, folks, because this is a multi-billion-dollar disaster. The value of these vehicles is plummeting. People can't even sell a Cybertruck for $90,000 right now. They're desperately trying to get rid of these things. The depreciation is off the charts, unbelievable, historic. And if you don't think any of that shit matters for a car manufacturer, look at the Saturn. Sell your Tesla stock right now, dude, while it's worth a damn, while it's worth something. Okay? This boondoggle's taking this company down, and thank goodness, quite frankly. So that a real auto manufacturer can actually, I don't know, maybe scoop up Tesla and start selling, you can keep your Tesla, because it'll be serviced and all that. But yeah, maybe GM or I don't know, Ford buys up Tesla. I don't know. I know the next car I'm going to buy is going to be a hybrid. I know that. And it will actually be rugged. I do like that Helix. I saw that mentioned in the chat. Welcome back, female eunuchs. Okay. I know it says old news. I haven't covered any old news yet. I guess I covered the Liz Truss thing. That's old news. All right, it's like, I have so much with Gaza. It's just so unbelievable. All right, let's just do it. Fuck it. It's like a nightmare you enter into, willingly, talking about Gaza. If Ford buys up Tesla, it will create a right-wing Ouroboros, a company that will belong to the right-wing anti-Semite will buy a company from a right-wing anti-Semite. Was it ever any different? I mean, there were opportunities for the West to actually be effective at carrot and sticking Israel, right? No, there were real opportunities for peace if the people in charge really wanted it, but Bibi Netanyahu is not stupid, and what he has done is actually kind of politically smart. He's created a situation. He created Hamas to divide and conquer the Palestinians. He had to have known that, these people were extremists, were absolute extremists, that they put, the destruction of Israel in their charter, in their founding documents, and everything that they do is all about the destruction of Israel. So he had to have known that. He had to have known that he knew for a fact that they were training right outside, they're right out in the open. They were training, in the Gaza Strip. He knew all that. So he knew if he could divide and conquer the Palestinians with Hamas, create an extremist group, and then eventually have their version of 9/11, which is, of course, the first thing that they did was try to say, this is our 9/11, right? He escalated the situation, and he did it in a way that made it look like he had nothing to do with it. When actually his hands are all over Hamas. His hands are all over the situation. Yeah, the religion element doesn't help either, Tisrael, but your obsession with it being all about religion. I mean, I understand that's where the Zionists are coming from, but geopolitically, this wouldn't have happened if it was just a bunch of religious extremists. This cannot happen without the full force, might, and support of the United States government, and of course, the British government doesn't hurt either. Welcome back. Never forget, brother. I get it. Never forget 9/11 reference. There we go.
So this happened just a couple days ago, I think yesterday, and we can expect more of this crazy kind of shit to be happening. There's a video of it if you want to search it out. If you search Jordanian truck driver Israel, I'm sure the video will come right up. But he motherfucking like siphon filtered these guys, dude. Like 3 headshots, boom, boom, boom. He took them out really quick. He wasn't no joke with that pistol. Jordanian truck driver had a small pistol that both the Jordanian and Israeli border police missed when they checked his truck. Once he crossed the Karma crossing from Jordan, he opened fire on 3 Israeli border police officers. All 3 were shot in the head at close range, 3 headshots. I mean, the longer Israel continues to commit crimes, the more we are going to see people lashing out. Oh, what do you mean? Are you trying to say Israel deserves it?
Cool it with the anti-Semitic
You're trying to say Israel deserves it. I'm trying to say 1 + 1 = 2. And you abuse a people in the way that you abuse the Palestinians. There's going to be reactions. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If the same exact situation was happening in Ohio, and you know the exact same Gaza Strip situation was happening in Ohio, and it was instead of Jewish people, it was Irish people, right? That was implementing what's happening in Gaza right there in Ohio, right? Same exact geography and everything. The people living in that region, the Americans, the Ohioans living in that region would start acting exactly as we see the Palestinians act, because this is how human beings react when they are trapped in an open-air prison, when they are subjugated to what they have been subjugated, what they've been subject to. It's just that simple. You treat human beings like animals, they start reacting like them. You corner a human being, they start lashing out. It doesn't excuse the crimes, but it's 1 + 1 = 2. You treat human beings like this. These are the responses, and it goes back to the solution. The solution isn't to bomb them into smithereens. The solution is to create stability, to create a healthy middle class, and then the terrorism. There's no room for it. The people will start. Get away from me, Hamas. I want nothing to do with you. I'm happy. I'm healthy. But that's incredibly expensive, right? Because you got to pay for the rebuilding, you got to pay for the security, you got to pay for the government. It's trillions of dollars. Better to just wipe it out, take it over. Here's a military parade of the resistance fighters in Jenin camp, which Netanyahu claimed he had destroyed. So yeah, guys, the whole operation has been a wild success. There isn't tens of thousands of Hamas members still around all over the place, It's been a massive success, guys. This anti-terrorist campaign, just like with the United States and ISIS, right? That's why ISIS doesn't exist anymore, right? Oh, damn it. Yep. I mean, guys, here's the thing about eliminating terrorism with the barrel of a gun. You just really, really have to mean it. I mean, you got to level everything. You got to destroy every building, everything. You need to kill everybody, right? Kill everybody. And, eventually you'll get the bad guys. You'll get the bad guys. And that's the moral way of doing it, right? Slaughtering everybody. That's the moral way of doing it. That's how you do it, folks. Literally just kill everybody. That's what we should have done in Iraq and Afghanistan, right? Just a massive slaughter. Take over the whole thing. Turn it into a fucking wasteland like Genghis Khan. G-Unit. Represent G-Unit. G-Unit. So yeah, Bibi Netanyahu, man, you're really doing it, bud. This is not last year. This is not 3 years ago. This was like a couple days ago, dude. This video. The thing about Genghis is that if you submitted to his empire, you were good to go, dude. You just had to bend the knee, kiss the ring, convert your religion, and then you were like good to go. A lot of characters like Genghis, it didn't have any way to like save yourself. And let's not get it twisted. Genghis would often tell his commanders to literally wipe out every single man, woman, and child in a village. There's a account from a historian that was like following a trail of destruction, and I can't remember, it was like some historian, some YouTube video I saw or something, but he describes entering a city after Genghis Khan's men came through and slaughtered everybody, and it was a total nightmare, right? It was just utter silence, nothing but dead bodies everywhere. A once bustling and alive town completely eliminated. So I'm not trying to defend him or anything. I'm just saying, even Netanyahu, there's no out. If you're a Palestinian, there's no out. It's accept annihilation, accept exile, but you will never have peace. You'll always be shuffling. You'll always be displaced. That's what they're creating here. They're creating a no way out situation. Welcome back, Clutch Cargo. As long as you paid tribute. Yeah, bulletproof. Exactly. Yeah, no. I'm not trying, I'm just trying to say is like, I'm just trying to make some stupid joke. I guess I went too far with it. All right, the horror continues, folks. What do we got here? Oh yeah. So I showed this video last time. Go ahead and show it again. This is So we're supposed to assume these are all Hamas members. Of course, this is how the IDF does things now. Any male, any man, they just round up every man. And God help you if somebody doesn't like you, right? Because all it takes is like for one guy to tell the IDF, oh yeah, Muhammad over there, oh, he loves Hamas. That's what you get for sleeping with my sister, Muhammad. It doesn't take much, and then you're in the torture dungeons, literally the rape torture dungeons. But this is how civilians are treated. This is not like Hamas members surrendered en masse and they defrocked them, they removed all their clothes, and this is the processing of actual legitimate Hamas members. No, these were just dudes that were just scooped up. And this is what is this supposed to do with the dogs? Is this supposed to scare the Hamas out of you? Are you supposed to go, I'm a member of Hamas? Ah! Like, how's that? It's just terror. It's just terror. It's just terror and torture. For torture's sake, right? I mean, you're not getting anything out of this. Yeah, okay, they're scared. They're scared shitless. What else, handcuffed on their belly, face down on the ground. Let's go ahead and get the dogs. Yeah, right? They can smell Hamas. Is that how you do it? Well, remember, we had one member of the chat, well-respected member of the chat, who I won't name, said that he was able to tell which one was Hamas and which one isn't. Remember that? I remember. Pretty obvious to me. I mean, so look, it's pretty clear. Look, I'll show you how to do it. That one's Hamas. He's got shoes on. That one's not Hamas. You see how his head is pointed straight down in an obedient manner, right? Okay, that one is Hamas right there because I don't like him. Okay, Hamas clearly. You see how the legs are separated? See the legs are separated right there? That shows defiance. Hamas member. That's pretty clear. Check out over here. Black hair. Hamas. Black hair, black heart. Pretty obvious. I'm not going to say Hamas, but they could probably lose a few pounds. Yep. And I have the right to say that to other people, by the way. Right there. I mean, these guys are all Hamas. I don't care anymore. This bit's dumb. These guys are all Hamas. Okay. Yep. All Hamas. To the rape dungeons. To the rape dungeons. Come on. You deserve it. Some of you guys, you deserve it sometimes. So I saw this joke. I was supposed to have this reported on Saturday, but this is a pretty accurate post. We got fucking Eddie Munster and I don't know, the guy from We Are in the Shadows. But no, these guys are disgusting. They do the press. They do the press interactions with the with the press. These guys are the B team, right? They got Jean Pierre out there now, who replaced Jen Psaki. She's the big one, but then other foreign journalists are able to ask these guys questions, And they duck and dodge and So yeah, what's up with that? How come, Israel basically went into the West Bank? You told them not to. You told them not to. Oh yeah, well, it's kind of reduced in the, it's okay. Why even up there? You know what I mean? When Trump just decided to stop doing press interactions, I almost respected it, because it was like, I don't even have the energy to lie to you, and I don't want to get caught up in my lies, so we're just not even going to say anything. The neoliberals truly do believe that this is good enough, right? Well, yeah, we let him get away with horrific crimes against humanity and send him weapons reflexively, but you can ask us some tough questions and we'll duck and dodge them. Free speech. Jean-Pierre, is that a JoJo reference? No, her name's like Jean-Pierre or something. She has like a complicated French name. Professional liar. So, I mean, this is not hyperbolic to say this. One of the few remaining schools in Palestine, don't let Israel know where it is or they'll bomb it. So instead of dead kids, I thought I'd show alive kids for once. So I guess this is, according to Israeli, the Israeli government and the IDF, the kids are learning how to hate Israel, death to America. Right. Airstrike then, Anakin. Airstrike them now. I'm so, it's just like with the school shootings, I'm one of the realest motherfuckers on planet Earth. Okay, and I know it's super cringe when I say that, but it's so true. And like, a lot of people keep the performance up of like, oh, it's so sad, because it is sad. It's incredibly sad. And of course I think it's sad as well, but it's just like, I don't even have the energy to perform sadness, All I have the energy left for is anger that nothing is being done, that I've seen this my whole life. I've seen this. And I've seen Bibi Netanyahu through a good chunk of it. I know he hasn't been in charge the whole time, but his dishonesty throughout this entire process is more than apparent. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame. Fool me once, shame on you. George Bush in it over here. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me thrice, I won't get fooled again. You know what I mean? It sickens me, and I no longer want to be sick. I want action. And I have the solution. I know what the solution is. It's not the perfect solution, but I haven't heard a better one. Exile all them, kill them all, integrate them into our society in an apartheid state, make them second-class citizens in a country that fucking despises them. That's the three solutions on offer by the Zionists. I'm the only one talking about a real, actual solution that would actually help human rights. You hear the two-state solution bandied about by Western people. They don't tell you what that fucking means, because they don't know what that means. They know that they're never going to really entertain a two-state solution. They know what Bibi's plan is. They have their intelligence agencies telling them exactly what's going on. They probably got microphones in the fucking meeting rooms. They know exactly what's going on. They know exactly where Bibi's coming from. Oh no, they're totally blind to the politics, and they're totally blind to the previous, negotiations, and they're just running off their gut. Come on. Wanted to show one example of this. It's kind of a meme now, but I wanted to show at least one example just to show you how true it is. So the meme is, you'll see a picture of this. This father lost his two children while he was registering them. He was in the government building to register his children, and Israel bombed that. I guess these kids were Hamas. And they died. So here he is mourning his children. And the meme is never click translate on a Hebrew post underneath a picture like this. Because this is what you get. So we're looking at a picture of two dead kids and the mourning father. And this is what this Zionist has to say. What fun to hear. Let all the children die, and let the fathers and mothers see the death of their children, and then we will kill them too. This is not isolated. This isn't an anomaly. This is the norm. There is a pro-Palestine peace movement within Israel. It's small, and it has zero political power. The democratic plurality in Israel, the debate that they're having is just like I explained, between the three options. Do we just exile all of them to an Arab country and risk a war with that country, dumping millions of refugees into their country? Do we just kill them all, Nazi style, death factories? Or do we take over everything, create a ghetto, full apartheid state, dump them in as second-class citizens, but hey, we'll treat them like shit, we'll treat them like total dirt, but we can use that slave labor. Those are the three options being debated by those that are in power, the democratic majorities within Israel. It's sick. And this is, if we let Israel, if this continues the way it continues, it is the elimination of the Palestinians. And America will be guilty. Britain will be guilty. Anyone who Canada will be partially guilty. Anybody that even, is now the cutoff? Is now the cutoff of what? If you're continuing to provide weapons at this very moment, right? I don't know. I don't know where the cutoff is, but oh, I know.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
I know. So this is something you do not hear mentioned on Morning Joe. You do not hear mentioned on mainstream news, CNN, ABC, MSNBC, CBS, supposedly liberal, supposedly legitimate journalistic organizations. Just so happens, of course, to be owned by right-wing billionaires, all of them. But we'll go ahead and ignore that. Here are the stats. This is a rough stat pulled off of, so this is from the Associated Press and Wall Street Journal here. These are the amount of prisoners held by Israel versus the amount of hostages held by Hamas. So the reason why it's fair to call a grand majority of the people held by Israel hostages, because they have not been charged with any crimes. They have not had their day in court. They're literally being held without charge, just in rape dungeons. If they talk too much shit, they get beaten to death. I have footage somewhere in these tabs of individuals leaving these prisons so heavily tortured, their hands and bodies covered with scars, so heavily psychologically traumatized, they don't even know their name. I'd like to point out that this was a grand majority of these people were in Israeli prison, if you want to call it that, before October 7th. None of that matters, though, right? I know BB's not stupid. When he started saying this is 9/11, this is 9/11, it really started to connect the dots to me. And then I started seeing the stuff from Haaretz about the connections between Hamas and Bibi, about how he encouraged the growth of Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and he wanted that separate election. He wanted two separate governments. When that happened, he celebrated publicly. He celebrated publicly the division of government now between these two regions, because the goal is to destroy. Welcome back, Estonian. And it's always been to destroy. Anything he's ever said to the West has just been to placate the public and the government while the erasure of Palestine continues. Just buying more time, getting in too deep, making it impossible to reverse. This is the normal violence that the Palestinians experience every single day. This is outside Al Aqsa Mosque. These are the IDF police officers, I believe, in the local area. These are the people supposed to be keeping the peace. You tell me if that's what this looks like. This is every day. This is every day. And if any of these Palestinians talk back, you know, God help them if they physically fight back, they will be thrown into a rape dungeon for years. They will disappear off the planet of the earth. And then they'll emerge not even knowing their name. They'll be so tortured. If you're wondering why you're seeing them pick themselves up but not really respond, that's the reason. If they say anything, if they act in any way aggressive, you can delete them. So seeing how she was abused, can you understand why she would be acting the way that she's acting, in a clear sign of defiance, and how that is actually showing incredible strength, knowing what could happen to her? All right. It is pretty fucking annoying, though. Moving on to the next one. So here's exactly what I was discussing. I guess I meant to have this next to the other clip there, but I got them mixed up a little bit. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. The State Department, the U.S. government does the work of Bibi Netanyahu, which is his goal is to destroy Palestine. Every single time they do this, they are helping him achieve that goal. We pay for this. United States citizens are paying for this. We are paying for this man to lie to us.
Thanks, Max. Moving back to the West Bank, there was a footage.
This is in reference to the bulldozers that are going after just fun. I'm gonna try to run you down. You know, just there's footage of reporters. I think I have it in here somewhere. You've probably seen it, but there's footage of reporters, you know, reporting bulldozers going by, and then just arbitrarily the bulldozers start to go after them. And I have the footage. I know I have it queued up. The reason why they feel okay doing that is because it's okay for them to block ambulances. It's okay to get in the way of Palestinian citizens. It's okay to, you know, to hurt Palestinians with their construction equipment. I mean, can you think about? I mean, you're a construction. You know, you're driving a backhoe. You just got done bulldozing a graveyard, right? A sick motherfucker like that would find blocking an ambulance quite fun.
2 days ago, showing Israeli bulldozers targeting a group of journalists. including journalists working for TRT and Anadolu, while they were covering Israel raid in Jenin. Do you have any comment on that? And generally, and do you have anything to say on the Israeli offensive in the West Bank recently, which is the largest assault over almost 2 decades?
So first of all,
100%.
we absolutely oppose any targeting of journalists, which I'm not saying is something that happened here. It's not.
We oppose the thing that happened, but we're not acknowledging that that was the thing that happened. Okay.
A conclusion we have reached, but we would oppose any targeting of journalists anywhere in the world by any forces. We think the work that journalists do is absolutely essential to gather information to show the world.
Yeah. That's what you thought during Iraq and Afghanistan, right? You let journalists report on the crimes you were committing there, right? No. The only journalists that were allowed to go in there had to be embedded with your troops. They could only see what you allowed them to see, right? Right?
What's happening, especially in conflict zones, to show the United States government what's happening in conflict zones. We have our own means of gathering information, but we very much rely on the work as well of respected journalists operating in very difficult places. And so we want them to be able to continue.
That's why they've made so many comments about the fact that historically more journalists have died covering this story in Palestine, Israel, than in like Vietnam and World War II, and thousands. We're up to thousands of journalists. Because you know why? Because they are being intentionally killed by Israel. It's a fucking fact. And this guy can't shut up about it. Can't shut up about it. We're doing an investigation. We'll get back to you. Eddie Munster looking ass motherfucker. Yo, Eddie, your mom is hot. Your zombie mom is super hot, dude. Zionist ignorance. That's the setup. Zionist ignorance.
The military, I was a commander. You don't know nothing. You are not okay, guys, and you don't know what you fucking stand for. No, this is not okay. It's not about conversation. Dude, you don't know what.
So this is a pretty common thing you see. We're not looking at her cleavage. This is a pretty common thing that we see with these zealots. They want it all. They already consider the entire territory theirs. They already consider the entire territory theirs. There's does this look like the West Bank and the Gaza Strip are carved out of it? It's to them, it's a foregone conclusion. It's all about, just as we heard with that two nice Jewish boys podcast. It's an understanding that we need to placate the West so that they can continue to help us. But we're never going to treat the Palestinians like human beings. And as long as the West enables us, that will always be the case.
You know what you stand for. You don't know what you stand for.
Yeah, but if you're willing
to exist, it never was a country. I don't know what you fucking talk about.
It doesn't exist. Wasn't even a country. I don't even understand.
The same, it's like the same stuff.
Fucking Israel, dude. You don't fucking know nothing. I do know a lot.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's just ingrained hatred, trained since birth, man. If you were raised in Israel, it's like literally, they call out the Palestinians for their indoctrination of the youth, but man, the indoctrination of Israeli youth is anthropologists study it, right? Because it's so immediately moment one, it's all of ours. It was never theirs. It's all about this situation. It's all about Palestine. So no, DJ Shay, I disagree with that. I mean, if you're trying to say we need to, I mean, I like the idea of from the river to the sea. If it's being said as like from the river to the sea, Israel and Palestine will enjoy together in harmony. Will enjoy the beauty and bounty of this area, but that's not usually what it's meant to say. It's usually said in a way of like, well, they're erasing us, so we get to erase them. And all you're doing is feeding right into BB. That's exactly what he wants you to say. That's exactly what he wants you to say. And quite frankly, it's exactly what the United States wants you to say as well. Because it justifies their continued support of this. So here's another image of the IDF torturing a Palestinian civilian. I guess, you know, like I said, we're supposed to assume this guy's Hamas. We're supposed to assume this guy's, you know, that they do their homework, that they, you know, that they do their research. These teenagers, but it goes well beyond humiliation on this level. We've literally seen the videos of them gang raping individuals. We know for a fact, like I said, a majority of the people in their prisons are held without trial, without any charge. And when they're released, they're not given any. Okay, this is what you were charged. This is what you know. They're just released after years of torture. So, you know, I was talking about Zionist indoctrination of the youth. Here's evidence to back that up. Go ahead and continue to call me an anti-Semite.
Anti-Semitic remarks.
I know that doesn't matter.
Don't raise your voice and go.
You fucking dumbass. Got caught up on her fucking skirt trying to kick her in the ass. Piece of shit.
Go.
And he's not a piece of shit because he's Jewish. He's a piece of shit because he's a Zionist.
People, try to understand. Let us leave. What inside people? Yes. Go. What inside people?
So they were there reporting, probably. You see the children are encouraged, you know, and it's kind of funny because they actually act very similar to Palestinian children, you know, against the IDF. The difference is, of course, when Palestinian children do that against the IDF, they are literally kidnapped and oftentimes sexually assaulted. I'm not lying. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being hyperbolic. Israeli government kidnaps Palestinian children and often rapes them. It's the new world order. Look, you gotta buy my supplements. The gay frogs are coming. You know, I get it. I get it. It sounds crazy. It's all there. It's all fucking there. Yeah, I see where you're going, Mr. Goliath. I don't have time to entertain you. It actually has everything to do with Zionism. But I don't have time to entertain bad actors that want to, you know, inject a bunch of fucking you know, oh, it's not this, you know. Did you know the Palestinians are evil? Did you know that? Did you know we were there first and the Palestinians took it over? They're occupying our land. It has nothing to do with Zionism. It has everything to do with righting the wrongs of the past. Right? It's crazy. I know we're killing a lot of kids, but it's crazy to say, but it's actually justified. Yeah. I simply don't have time for the nonsense today. Just going to keep moving. Israeli occupation forces opened fire on journalists while covering the Israeli military's deliberate destruction of infrastructure in downtown Jenin. So it was referenced in the chat earlier. The deliberate destruction of roads and infrastructure. And, you know, the sycophants and Israeli IDF defenders in the comments section are going, you guys are dumbasses. Don't you know how to eliminate IEDs? This is all about getting rid of the weapons and IEDs that are on the road. That's why we're ripping it up. It's ridiculous because you could actually hide an IED a whole lot better in a big pile of rubble than you can just, you know, under a pile of garbage. Actually makes it incredibly easy. You're literally exposing the asphalt. You're exposing the dirt underneath the asphalt, making it a whole lot easier to bury mines under. It's not about what it is. It's about destroying. It's about doing to the West Bank what they did to the Gaza Strip. What did they do to the Gaza Strip? They made it uninhabitable. No schools, no hospitals. The safe zones aren't safe. The only place you could even you know, get a little safety is right up next to the ocean, where they want to push you. Seemingly. But no, this is about making it a place where you don't want to return, right? Bulldoze the graveyards, remove the schools, remove the hospitals, you know, services. You know, anytime the World Food Kitchen drives up there, they get attacked. right? You make it basically no man's land. You know, there's no real place to no place to get shelter. You know, no place to get warm. If we see a fire, we're gonna drone bomb you, or we're gonna arrest you, or assault you, or accost you. You know, make the whole thing into a no man's land for enough time, and then you start sneaking in the settlers. It's like, well, we can't. You know, we refuse to physically, you know, touch the settlers, and you know, because we actually agree with them. But that's the whole point, and that's BB's strategy, right? And that's why he's doing this before the end of Joe Biden's administration. That's why he's getting into the West Bank before the end of Joe Biden's administration. No matter how much Joe Biden, oh, please, BB, please, you're making me look so bad. Please, you're making me look so weak. Stop it, BB, please. No matter how much Joe Biden begs and pleads. I love you. I love Zionism. Please don't. I've been so loyal for the last 4 or 5 decades. Please stop. Please, you're making me look so bad. My legacy is being ruined because of you. BB laughs in his fucking face. And the reason why he's getting deep in the West Bank is because it's going to make it harder and harder to get him out of there. Like I've said it before, I'll say it again. I wouldn't be surprised if the settlers start moving into the Gaza Strip before the end of the Joe Biden administration. Probably the main reason that the settlers haven't moved in, and I hate to say this, is probably because of the resistance from Hamas that continues to exist in those areas. It's way too fucking unsafe. Right? They talk a big game. But, you know, at the end of the day, they're just religious zealots, and up against, you know, a pseudo-military trained terrorist organization like Hamas, they're going to get creamed. And the IDF can't protect them in every angle, right? So that's probably the only thing holding back the settlers right now is the Hamas, which I hate to say it. But here's some good news. The moment the City Council of Portland, Maine, unanimously voted to divest from Israel. Definitely some good news. Oh, it's not going to do anything. It's not a lot of money. You're not going to succeed. Boycotting doesn't work. Okay, I don't care. I don't care about any of those things. I don't care if this doesn't work at all. All I care about is my money, 1 penny of my money, my tax money going to Israel, or my college tuition, right? So that's what they say about college boycotting as well. Oh, it's not going to work. It's not a lot of money. Makes you look anti-Semitic. Right? They have all kinds of negative things to say about boycotting, but they seem to be really annoyed, and they seem to, you know, get really up in arms, even trying to pass laws to say that you can't specifically with Israel, you can't boycott anything else. Boycott oxygen. We don't care. Boycott it all, but don't you dare boycott Israel. Absurd, right? Absolutely absurd to try to pass a law that would do that. So I don't care if it doesn't work. It's the principle. It's the principle. Yeah. That principle. I got so many principles. But no, you know, I don't care if it works. I don't care if it doesn't work. So good on them.
And all those in favor will signify by doing so.
There you go.
Clerk will note it's unanimous.
Good news. Great stuff. Hails to the yeah. Love it. Boycott, divest. Was it BTS? Boycott, transfer, divest, something like that. But I'm fully down with it. Boycott. Here's what 3 seconds of driving through Palestine looks like. A grand majority of Gaza Strip looks like this. There's very few areas of the Gaza Strip that are still intact. And that's, like I said, yeah, boycott, transfer. Dumbass. But like I said, this is intentional, right? There's no homes to go back to. There's no schools to teach your kids. There's no hospitals to go if you're sick. And there's a good chance that Israel will bomb your ass, or you'll get scooped up, thrown into a rape dungeon. Make it into no man's land for enough time, then you sneak the settlers in, then it's a done deal. Do you have a comb? It's in here. I tried. It just, my hair just took it. I'm not sticking my hand in there. Okay? All right? I'm not getting that comb back.
All right, that's fine. Hair can have it. I don't want it. I tried. It ain't giving it back. And I'm not sticking my fingers in there. So here's your toupee ate the comb. Yeah. I only get the best toupees. You know? So here's something that's not boycott, divest, sanction. Thank you. Okay, there it is. BDS. I said BTS. Ah, it's BDS. BTS is the Korean boy band. This comb is holding him hostage. Quick call hair orbs. OBS. Okay. Here's something that's not funny. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Israel, this has been happening way before October 7th. This has been happening for decades. But, you know, kids will be kids, right? They talk some shit. They throw some stones. And they'll get kidnapped for months, years. I've shown footage, I think it was 6 months ago or so, maybe 3 months ago, of images of how Israel will often keep these children literally in animal cages, literally keep a child in a dog cage, stacked on top of each other. No charges, no trial. God knows what happens to them. Sometimes, you know, it's not like every single one of them gets, you know, raped and tortured, but a good chunk of them do. And this is what it looks like when they take your child from you. His screams of terror are not hyperbolic. You know, his screams of terror are not hyperbolic at all. "24 seconds into a 60-second video. Can you handle it?" That's awkward. He's trying to leave, and he's kind of, traffic's kind of stuck, and oof, that's awkward. Oof. It's one of those days, you know. He's kind of would like to not feel guilty about kidnapping this kid. Come on. Yeah, can we go? I'm trying to kidnap this kid. Can we go? Come on. He's crying for his mommy. He's crying for his mommy, Beckett. Come on. Please, this is awkward. This is so awkward. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. I do. Tisreal, I hate it. You know, it's like, it's just, you know, you got the kid screaming in the back for his mommy because you're going to kidnap him and throw him away into some dungeon. God knows what'll happen to him for months, maybe even years. And you're just trying to get him to the rape dungeon and the traffic, you know? Oh yeah. Well, I think Toyota is kind of just reserved to the fact that they're just not going to talk about this. It's rather awkward. Like VW, right? Like VW likes to pretend that its history started in the 1950s. Oh wow, what's that? What's that look like? Hitler. Never heard of him. IBM as well, right? IBM. They totally do that. They'll do like timelines, you know, IBM through the years, starting from the 1960s. So here's what it looks like when Israel bombs a school. This is something they do regularly. Of course, they say Hamas is using these. Oh, look, we found the weapons. Oh, look, there's tunnels. Right? They got all the excuses. Half the time, the media doesn't even report on it anymore. They don't even bother going to the IDF to even try to justify, oh, yeah, it was totally justified. We found 700 terrorists underneath in a massive complex of 700 miles of tunnels underneath this school. Had to go. Right, and then they go to the UN. This is despicable. This is one of the most despicable crimes ever committed against the UN. Okay. And we'll do it again. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. We're going to do it to all of them.
We're going to do it to all of them. And you're going to sit there and like it. What are you going to do about it, Keir? What are you going to do about it, Biden? It's embarrassing at this point. It's actually embarrassing. Keir Starmer, like, cuts 30 weapons deals. There's still over 300. You better stop it. You better stop killing people indiscriminately. Okay. Well, I'm gonna reduce the shovels of weapons and arms to. I'm gonna reduce it by 1. Keep shoveling. Oh! We could have stopped Hamas getting to those kids. Exactly. If only. Well, we stopped them now. There you go. Stopped Hamas right in its tracks. You know, we're joking, but Zionists really talk like this. Oh yeah, well, they would have been Hamas. Those kids, yeah, they would have been Hamas members anyway. Just killing them beforehand. Very similar things to what the United States said about the children that they killed in Iraq and Afghanistan, by the way. Future terrorists. Oh, future terrorists. Look it up. We killed a lot of kids in Iraq and Afghanistan. Killed a lot of them. Made a lot of kids orphans in Iraq and Afghanistan. More evidence of Israel. Oh, this is about IEDs. Right. You go into the comment section of these videos, it's all about IEDs. Or people, having the most disgusting opinions on planet Earth because it's Twitter, a bunch of blue checks. They aren't doing enough. Well, I still see houses standing. And of course, the Zionists, but Hamas. Oh, we wouldn't have to do this extreme barbarism if it wasn't for Hamas. Isn't funny? It's like when the neo-Nazis say, I wouldn't have been a neo-Nazi if it wasn't for you liberals trying to take away my guns. Then I wouldn't vote for Trump. I wouldn't support authoritarian policies if the left wasn't trying to make my kid into a transgendered. Okay, buddy. We wouldn't have destroyed Palestine if we didn't engineer Hamas to divide and conquer Palestine. You should have stopped Bibi Netanyahu from helping and foster Hamas, and right, it's just ridiculous. It's when you've completely rewritten history, when you've rejected reality, you can kind of just justify anything. And man, let me tell you, nobody plays the victim quite like Zionists. But here's that evidence I was talking about of bulldozers that are not punished. They're not punished to do this. And I know it says RT up there. I'm sorry. But they're not punished when they do this. It's really interesting to see pro-Russia people like Jackson Hinkle, who is, by the way, a paid Russian propagandist. But it's interesting to see them come out for Palestine. The reason, of course, they're coming out for Palestine is that it hurts Western foreign policy. It makes the United States look bad. So Russia, pro-China, they're all of a sudden very pro-human rights. Very pro-human rights, Russia and China. Oh, the plight of the Palestinians. Have you heard? It's unbelievable what the West is doing. That's the main reason. But here, this is every day. This is every single day. These are ambulances that are trying to get to people who have been bombed. Children, men, women, and children who have been torn to shreds on their last life, bleeding out, dying. Right? This is usually after an airstrike or something. The ambulance will get out. And look at that. The bulldozers, they don't appear to be doing any kind of work. The bulldozers are there specifically to block the ambulances. It reminds me of the United States and their double tap, what they called a double tap, where they would, this was all about, the collateral murder video. We got to see that, but it happened like every week at least. The United States would bomb a location, wait for the rescuers to show up like a minute and a half, 2 minutes later, ambulances or, rescue workers would show up and intentionally strike the same location to try and kill as many aid workers. A lot of journalists died because of double taps. So it reminds me of that. This is an intentional policy. They were ordered to do this. They were there because they knew the ambulances would be coming, because they knew that they were going to be bombing a civilian location.
You know, it's not. We're not dealing with a lot of coincidences here. We're really not. It's really not a lot of coincidence. It really is just barbarism. It is the systemic destruction of a human civilization. Here's what it looks like when a person is still alive, trapped under the rubble. Israel is doing this to Palestinians every single day. Children are being pulled out, adults, women. I saw an image a couple days ago of a man holding the bottom torso of an 8-year-old child, looks like 8 or 6, young child, just the bottom half. I think we should just proceed under the assumption of the two nice Jewish boys podcasters' opinions are now the norm in Israeli society. I agree, the big room. I agree. I don't think it's guilt by association. If I was just going off just their comments, I would disagree with you. But I'm not going off just their comments. Their comments reinforce a reality that I've seen for years. For years. So, that's where I'm coming from. It's, if it was, if it was just them, and then the reality was totally different, I'd be like, no, that's ridiculous. That's guilt by association. But no, I think it's actually very fair to say, because I believe I've shown enough evidence, years and years of evidence, clips of people from Israel. Johnny the investor, huh? Welcome, Johnny. But I've shown plenty of evidence that what those individuals were saying does reflect the democratic plurality. I mean, look who they vote for. Look at the parties that are currently in charge. All right, Johnny, go somewhere else, please. I already don't like you. Go somewhere else. Thank you. So here's that video of that woman, of the torture I was talking about. This woman was released from Israeli the Israeli torture dungeons. She doesn't remember her name, and there's clear signs of torture all over her body. She wasn't charged with anything, just held against her will, kidnapped, and then tortured. No idiots allowed today. Sorry, I literally don't have time for idiots. So this video doesn't really reflect it very well. I probably should have found a longer video, but she was, I've seen a longer video of her. She was being asked questions and just completely out of it. Just completely out of it. She was just in the most traumatizing event of her life, and now she's out. She doesn't, literally doesn't even remember her name. This kind of psychological trauma is totally possible if you torture a person enough, if you break them down. Thank you, Ponder Monkey. No. Oh, wait, because there's no idiots allowed? No, not you. Except you. You're one of the good ones. So I mistakenly was calling this person number 2 in the government, and that is, of course, technically not true. I looked at how the Israeli government, he's not number 2 technically, but he is a major. He made a major coalition as a major partnership with the Likud party, and the Bibi Netanyahu does not have a majority, does not have power without this individual. So he's technically not a number 2, but he has an incredible amount of influence. Of course, I'm talking about Ben-Gvir. So here is him brandishing a gun. So he was in some kind of, Ben-Gvir threatened to kill a Palestinian parking attendant. So he was in some kind of parking garage by pulling out a gun because he was refused to park in a prohibited parking area. So, a Palestinian dare to tell Ben-Gvir where to park. He was literally just doing his job, working at a parking garage. Oh, hey, you're not allowed to park there. You got to park over here. Those are the rules. I work here. Ben-Gvir, a sitting politician, and head of a party. I can't remember the name of the extremist party that he heads. But this is the party that wants to wipe out all the Palestinians, right? This is he literally just made a statement about how he wants to bomb the Al-Aqsa Mosque and build a Jewish church. What is it? What do they call them? But he that was a statement he made just a couple days ago. I think I showed it last weekend, the statement that Ben-Gvir made about how he wants to bomb the Al-Aqsa Mosque and build a, what is it called? God. Not coming to mind. But anyway, here is him. This is how he reacts when a lowly Palestinian has to do his job, pulls out a fucking gun, threatens to kill him. This is a sitting politician. And the Israelis that voted for him support this. They support this. They support this behavior.
אמרתי לך אתה לא תאיים עליי אמרתי לך לא לחנות פה רנן על ערפאת אתה מצולם עלי נשק אתה תאיים עליי אני אטפל בך אתה שומע אמרתי לך אתה לא תאיים עליי באת להרביץ לי.
And he's if he was in charge, if he takes out, if he was in charge, he'd, straight up World War II Nazi style could fucking waste this guy and no repercussions. I think one of the only reasons he's holding back right now is because of BB in the West and all that. But if he were ever unleashed, it would just be summary executions. I do believe that this is an extremely dangerous genocidal man. They put his gun away. Right. Now this man's doing everything in his power to destroy Palestine. He really is. But I believe the synagogue, thank you. Yes. He wants to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque and build a synagogue. Thank you. I know, they study the Torah in a synagogue. Meshuggah. Here's another classic from your boy Eddie Munster over here. Zombie Mom, super hot. Another total classic. He was asked, hey, how, Bibi Netanyahu literally spitting in your face. Any comment or statement? I like the taste of Bibi Netanyahu's spit, quite frankly. It's refreshing, smells nice. He always eats Mentos, and you can totally tell. I don't see a problem with this.
The damage in Rafah does not appear to be as great, and we'll have there'll be assessments of this over time, but it does not appear to be as...
I mean, we told him not to do it. We said it was a red line. We said if you would do it, we would punish you. But, not that bad.
As great as those in Khan Yunis and those in Gaza City.
Yeah, not that bad.
And notably the civilian harm.
Is there... Outside of Dresden, does it get any worse than Gaza City? That's kind of a high destruction bar, isn't that? Like, isn't 90% of Gaza City now rubble? Well, it's not as bad as Dresden. It's not like the My Lai massacre over here. Come on now. Golly. Only a couple hundred people died. Come on, man. Yeah, we got this in check. Welcome back. Smash.
Has been reduced.
Israel has gone ahead with almost what you were telling them not to.
So it is a different operation than what they were initially planning, and is a different operation than the one that we were very much making clear we were opposed to. It's not to say that we have agreed with every tactic that they have pursued.
Right. So, I mean, they're asking for forgiveness instead of permission, and we'll gladly give it to them. In fact, we gave them forgiveness with a big handful of weapons that they immediately used to kill children. I have a cool car. My parents have a cool car.
We have agreed with every strike that they have taken. Of course, we can always look at things and say this isn't the right way to do this. You should have done more to minimize civilian casualties. But when we made clear what we were opposed to, we had a very specific operation in mind. And what we saw, the damage in Rafah does.
Blah, 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 blah. Justified. And we gave them some weapons on top of that, baby. Yo, we getting it done. Getting it done. Nobody proxy wars like the U.S.
So, yeah, I mean, we're starting to see a lot of videos like this coming out. Israeli settlers have never been more emboldened. Israeli settlers have never been more ready for slaughter, ready to kill Palestinians at will. They're really ready for it. So this is, you know, this is what Palestinian life is right now in the West Bank.
תרגיל. כולם מוכנים, מקסימום.
Everyone's ready.
מחכים לטבח הגדול.
Waiting for the big slaughter, the real one. Come on. Getting impatient. When do we get to kill him, BB? I film it. I can't wait. Holy redemption. Look at the smile on his face. He's like, I can't wait to kill them all. It's going to be fun. Oh, don't film it. He says, don't film it. Sorry, I didn't see that. Don't film it. It's going to be pretty gross. I'm literally going to shoot children with an assault weapon that was given to me by the Israeli government. Woo! Thanks, Uncle Sam. Joe Biden watches that video and says, I'm a proud Zionist. So here's the most moral army in the world, slinging gas around like some kind of hitman in a Palestinian home and burning it down. As you can see, this was a Hamas hangout. Lots of Hamas, evidence of Hamas all over this building. Those steps are clearly Hamas. We're just, you know, spreading gas around, burning it down. Got to burn it down. You know, Hamas could be using this building. Hamas might use this building, guys. So I'm lighting it. Hey, bro, how about no? How about I'm carrying a fucking, and my hands are covered in gas? How about you give it a second? Like, you got Eager Beaver over here. Okay, I'm gonna light it up. Can I get out of the building first? Hey, look, it's Corn Pop. I love being a Zionist. Which came from an American arms manufacturer, yeah. Welcome back, Rebel Phoenix. Oh, good. All I can hear is the Anakin attack from the quotes. Oh, Star Wars sucks. That shit sucks. Another image. Israel kidnaps children, treats them. This is how Israel treats kids. Like I said, I've shown you images before of children being kept in animal cages, dog cages, and lots and lots of eyewitness, you know, verified reports of children being sexually assaulted while being held in captivity. And then, of course, we have the phenomenon of Israel popular media justifying rape against Palestinian prisoners. I've shown evidence of that, but I know. I'm just making it up.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Unless I can literally give you unless I can prove every single thing that I'm saying the moment, right? Because I just picture, I just have this Zionist in my head who's like, oh yeah, right, oh yeah, right. The entire time he's in my head, right? Oh, prove it. I can prove it. I've shown all that. I mean, hours and hours and hours of video evidence, articles, research, eyewitness reports, people who were there on the ground. Didn't you know we were there first? But Hamas, we were there first. Just do it. Just do it. Just get it over with. Yeah, Rebel Phoenix, that's kind of funny. Historian Ian Pape explains why he thinks Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu can reject any U.S. proposal for a Gaza ceasefire without backlash from his biggest ally. So, grain of salt, this is Al Jazeera. Hasn't been community noted, so I don't think anything is untrue in this statement, but grain of salt, this is Al Jazeera.
It's funny how we sort of think that we are hearing some dramatic news where actually we see the repeat of the same news again and again. And I'm afraid this...
No, strategy member, I love that idea, but do you think that would change a single Zionist's mind if I had that spreadsheet and if I was able to, you know, video proof? That's a fake video. That person's lying. Oh, that's taking it out of context. That's not what really happened. You think, you know, it doesn't matter. No, but it would be funny. It'd be a huge waste of time. And if that's funny to you, then so be it. But We need to get over the left, and I'm not criticizing you, strategy. You're great. But the left in general needs to get over this concept that all we need to do is prove the other side wrong. We need to defeat them. They're anti-truth. They're hammers looking for nails. They've made their conclusions, and they are going for the jugular. They are going for the throat. No amount of spreadsheets, no amount of evidence, no amount of proof is going to change their mind. The only thing that works is fighting back.
This is going to be the same. Netanyahu is going to reject the American proposal, whatever it is. He doesn't think that the Americans are in any position to really pose danger to his own position in the government, because we are 60 days before the elections. And therefore, this is all going to be, there's going to be a lot of talk, but very little action on the ground. And I'm afraid
every time
we need something far more drastic than an American proposal that tries to satisfy Netanyahu's demands that keep changing, because he doesn't want a deal, and he doesn't want to end the fighting.
That's correct. Yeah. We've talked about this before. The only human being on planet Earth that benefits right now from this conflict is Bibi Netanyahu. Everyone else is suffering. Everyone. Not even Hamas is really, like, you know, making out that well, right? They kind of got exactly what they wanted. They got their little holy war, but nobody is really getting what they want except for Bibi. And this is, you know, he has decades of history of Bibi's negotiating style are out there for you to observe. He does this every single time. The moment the negotiations get anywhere close to being viable, to being, you know, actually making any progress, he says, he moves the goalposts, makes new demands, and says, if you don't accept these new demands, the deal's off. And of course, the new demands are ridiculous, right? Oh, like he'll say, okay, yeah, we'll negotiate ceasefire. Then it'll start to get serious, and he'll say, okay, well, the ceasefire is for only 6 weeks, and then we're going to go back to destroying you, and that's a hard line, and I'm not going past that. And they're like, well, of course we're not going to do a ceasefire deal for 6 weeks. That's just an example. But this is how Bibi negotiates, right? And like I said, it's all about buying time from the West. It's all about placating the West. It's also that Wolf Blitzer can get in front of the camera and say, peace in the Middle East is going to happen real soon. Joe Biden, he twisted some arms, and now they're doing there's real progress on the ceasefire deal. And then everyone can sleep on it for another couple days or weeks until the next, right? Until the next violence or whatever thing pops up in the media. It's all about buying time. There's no two-state solution happening as long as Bibi Netanyahu and Ben-Gvir are in charge, straight up. And quite frankly, any of the viable political parties that want to replace Bibi Netanyahu, politicians or political parties, they're all pro eliminate Palestine as well. The only thing that's going to work is a carrot and a stick, pulling away the weapons, and yes, putting Israel in some kind of danger to its neighbors. You want to destroy Israel? Look, I mean, we have no choice here. It's either we continue to, fuel this fire and continue to let Israel complete its massive pogrom of destroying the Palestinian country, or we accept that Israel has to be put in some kind of danger to act on this. Hey, if we want ammo for our Iron Dome, okay, we're going to have to, come to some compromise. Oh, we can't do that. We can't. I'm a proud Zionist, and we can't do that. Okay, then you support this. Then then you're okay with this. What we're listening to is a mother who is taking video of this IDF. Maybe he's a settler. Maybe he's IDF. This might not even be IDF. This might just be a settler. Attempting to kidnap her child, right? So he was maybe throwing stones, talking shit, right? Throwing stones or talking shit, right? So he's fully deputized. He can take this kid hostage and give him over to the IDF. Right?
Don't touch me, police. Shut your mouth.
Right. So he's actively trying to kidnap her son. Oh, shh! Let it happen. Let it happen. This isn't your land. This isn't your son. None of this is. You don't exist. You don't exist. You're a cockroach. Shh! I'm gonna kidnap your son, and you're not gonna do shit about it. Every single day, and it was happening for decades before October 7th. Here's what it feels like to be a Palestinian who is being cleansed of Hamas. Do you feel the cleansing power? Just a couple more of those and we got it, boys. Couple more of those and Hamas will be folding it in, man. Couple more of these bad boys and Hamas is toast. Trust me. Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. Couple more of these bad boys. You know, tens of thousands more civilians, but we got Hamas on the run, dude. Oh, I know. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So here's orphan Gazan children with no parents, and the oldest daughter here, you know, now feeding her toddler brother. It's all necessary to get rid of Hamas. This incredible tragedy that will be remembered for ages as one of the saddest moments of human history. It's totally necessary to get rid of some religious zealots who are perfectly happy to live in rubble, in dirt, underground. Had to happen. There's literally no other way to eliminate terrorism. Didn't you know that? That's why it was so wildly successful for the United States in Iraq and Afghanistan. Remember that? How much ass did we kick? I mean, we weren't run out of Afghanistan like an embarrassing joke. The Taliban didn't take over in Afghanistan 14 hours after we left, right? We kicked some ass. We took some names, and they'll never forget who we are. I mean, it is true that a lot of them actually thought that we were still the Soviets because they thought that war wasn't over. I guess it is also true that most of the people in Afghanistan had no idea what 9/11 was. But they'll remember the red, white, and blue. They'll remember when we came through, wasted $1 trillion, and then left in the heat of the night without so much of sorry. We did blow up a van filled with kids, though. Got him. Got him. All Hamas members. Oh, wait, no, that was Taliban. Sorry, Afghanistan. That was Taliban. So, you know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If this was happening in Ohio, you know, this is humanity fighting, right? This is what makes our species so amazing, that we're actually, you know, very, very tough. So here's a Palestinian man who was pulled out of the rubble of a building, who is still finding the strength to fight against his oppressors. His skin is literally peeling off his face from from the explosives. Couple more bombing campaigns and we got this one licked, guys. Kill a couple 100,000 more of these guys and we got this locked down. You know, there are people to this day that believe that we shouldn't have left Vietnam, that we should have just doubled down, and that would have led to a victory in Vietnam for the United States. To this day, people are trying to make that argument. I just want you to remember that when you interact with someone who just said, "Oh, we just need to do it harder," and yep, because Hamas, a couple more times, and we'll get them. You got literally people holding on to defeat in Vietnam and still talking about, oh, well, we just needed to be brutal, just needed to be more brutal. Well, I keep seeing this, okay? Look, I'll look at it, fine. Look, wow, okay, I see it. Okay? Go away. What's happening? Is anything else happening? Okay, yes. No! God damn it. So distracting. Can someone put a burqa on this woman? American Jewish billionaire Alex Karp is using spyware to intercept phone calls from international citizens to Palestinians. His company, Palantir, is selling the information to the IDF, Unit 8200, so that they can target civilians in Gaza, well over 1,800 children. So this is Israel already using AI, which isn't AI, isn't very good, and is using this software to identify Hamas members. Specifically one of these programs, this might be Palantir. This might be the application that I'm talking about here, but they wait for the so-called Hamas member to go home, and then that's when they strike, so that they can kill as many people as possible. That's what they're trying to achieve. Sounds absurd, sounds hyperbolic, sounds cartoonishly evil. Everything that I'm saying, this entire Gaza section, has sounded cartoonishly evil. But I swear to God, everything I say is true, to the best of my ability. To the best of my ability. I am trying as hard as I can not to say anything hyperbolic. You know, and then you watch the Two Nice Jewish Boys podcast, and it's just like, fucking cartoon villain. Nazi shit. Oh, if I could push a button that would genocide all the Palestinians, I'd push that button immediately. I'm such a co-host. Well, that's because you're a tough guy. That's because you're a really tough guy. I guess I am kind of tough. I got the balls to say it. Where do you go from there? You know, someone said in the chat, very accurate, doing, you know, the anti-Semites are eating really well. The actual I hate Jew guys are really eating well. You know, the Zionists doing all the work for them, right? Because the Zionists want you to confuse Jewish identity with Zionism. They want those two things to be one and the same. So they have the audacity to make that argument and then commit a genocide. They say, we represent Judaism. We represent all Jews across the world. Here are our crimes. Here are our actions. Pretty disgusting shit, quite frankly.
An equivalent of the NSA. It's called Unit 8200. They're very sophisticated. It's basically the same type of organization as the NSA. And Palantir is one of the companies that's given, it's an American company, it's based in Denver, and it has given an enormous amount of assistance to Unit 8200 in terms of targeting. And that goes to the military. So the military targets civilians, lots of civilians. Most of the people killed were civilians, women and children.
Over 90%.
The people who have been targeted in the occupied territories in Gaza. So the NSA
over 90%
gives,
civilians.
Unit 8200 an enormous amount of data from what it collects. When I interviewed Ed Snowden back in Moscow after he...
Edward Snowden is confirmed a Russian shill, just to point that out. That doesn't make the data that he released as a whistleblower any less legitimate, but it is good to note that he is he's pro-Russian. He's against Ukraine.
Went to Moscow, taking all the data from NSA.
Doesn't seem like he has much of a choice.
One of worst offenses he saw when he was at NSA, that they were giving all this American data, Palestinians talking overseas to relatives or friends in Palestine and the occupied territory, and NSA was giving that data to Unit 8200. So you have Unit 8200 that's collecting a lot of data from the United States, from Americans. They're using it for targeting, and Palantir is one of the companies that's.
So I mean, it goes well beyond, the collusion goes well beyond just the United States giving this entity weapons and then that entity using those weapons. The United States is literally saying terrorists over here, terrorists over there, directly resulting in the death of tens of people, hundreds of people per airstrike. So it's well beyond just a collusion. I mean, it is working hand in hand to achieve Bibi Netanyahu and Ben Gvir's goals of erasing the Palestinian state. Are we supposed to assume that the United States doesn't see what Israel is doing with settlers, and they're just conveniently ignoring the settlers? This is just an example of Palantir, how the targeting system works, I believe.
Enormously sophisticated in terms of targeting.
Yeah.
So what?
Generating mobility pathways. I think we're looking at the software right here.
The problem is that you're
Battlefield
getting
analysis complete.
Information from the United States that the Israelis are using to target the civilians in Gaza.
Oh, it's total collusion.
33,000 killed now. It's just an enormous problem that the U.S. has got to stop supplying all.
Yeah. We got to stop. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. I truly believe. I truly believe that the West is going to let Israel do this whole shebang, and then the moment when it's done and Israel declares its official borders, the United States is going to start the process of erasing this crime from history, redefining the crime, recontextualizing the crime, you know. Very similar to what we see with the Native American, right, in the United States. Jewish people, not Jewish, Zionist vigilante groups feel more emboldened than ever. Like I said, you know, this person may very well, I don't know what this person's politics are, but when they start saying Jewish, you know, it's like you got to be careful with that kind of shit. But here are some Zionists walking around in the free world, feeling totally comfortable to...
This is the vigilante organization that prowls around now on the University of Toronto campus.
All right, so this is happening in Canada.
They are a vigilante group. Not sure what they're doing here among the students and faculty.
Right. Wearing pseudo military gear. They're not allowed to wear bulletproof harnesses, so they got their little harnesses without plates, right? Little Walmart, you know, bought them off Amazon. J-Force, watch out! J-Force coming through. Is that Jew Force? Is that what that is? Is that what that means? Please tell me that that's what that means. Please tell me J-Force means Jew Force. Please.
J-Force, it says J-Force. Perhaps they couldn't pass the test to become police, and now this is their lot in life.
You got to watch out for those because what they are saying, the lie is that Jewish people can't walk anywhere without rampant anti-Semitism. Are you Jewish? Oh, what's your nose? Let me see. Your nose is big. Are you Jewish? You're Jewish. You're Jewish. Oh, you're good. Right, because Jewish people are getting attacked on college campuses everywhere, victimized unbelievably. You can't believe the violence. So they got to patrol. And of course, when they patrol and there's no violence, I think we know why, right? I think we know why there wasn't any violence against Jewish people in those areas when the J-Force is coming through. Anti-Semites beware. I heard the J-Force is coming through. J-Force coming to town. Better get out of here, anti-Semites. Tough guys. Look at that. He's got the medical kit on the belt. You put the medical kit on the belt. Quick access, because you're going to need quick access because the violence against Jews is overwhelming. More like gay force. No. Here's the reality. There are real, legitimate anti-Semites walking amongst us that really, really hate Jewish people.
Nick Fuentes, the Groypers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These clowns and what Israel and the Zionists are doing assists those crypto fascists. It completely undermines actual anti-Semitism that's actually happening. Kind of gives them cover, gives actual anti-Semites cover. Yeah, honeymoon. That's a great point. You know why though? You know why? Because they didn't have the J-Force. Because they didn't have the J-Force. Look at these badasses. Look at these badasses. These absolute... Wait, no, we got to do the sex offender shuffle. Here we go. Yeah, I think raping Palestinians is cool. Palestinians should be sent to the rape dungeon.
State of Florida has asked us to disclose our sexual crimes to you. We were bad, but now we're good. We're moving into your neighborhood. You know we're trying our best to be functioning members of society. We're not here to start no trouble. We're legally required to do the sex offender shuffle.
I'm Larry Arthauer, and I'll refrain from touching my neighbor's kids again.
He won't do it again. All right, moving on. You know it's a good day when we're busting out the sex offender shuffle. Okay, so these two videos from Double Down News are absolutely amazing. I trust him. Trust him. He learned his lesson. You want to babysit my kids? So no, these two videos are amazing. I don't have time today. I will play them though. This first one is about Israel's sex torture dungeons. 100% legitimate. This is nothing. It's all proven. It's all fact. It's like none of this shit is hearsay. None of this. It's all 3-4 point verified, right? We got eyewitness reports. We got ex prisoner, ex guards, people that were close to eyewitnesses. I mean, just the whole thing. I know I said eyewitness twice, but eyewitnesses, multiple eyewitnesses is very important. All right, you corroborate the evidence. These two videos are absolutely amazing. Then this other one is, of course, about the Hannibal Directive, about the fact that the IDF was literally told, kill Israelis. If it means you can kill the Hamas terrorists, that's fine. They cartoonishly evil. Okay, it's real. Okay, but no, I'm an anti-Semite. Okay, it does feel like I'm losing my fucking mind. It does, because no matter what I say, no matter how much evidence I show the world, it's still the crimes continue to
Israel is the only country in the world that has a military juvenile detention system for children as young as 12. Take two kids who live in the West Bank. They're both, say, 12 years old, and they've both been kind of naughty, and they've been throwing stones. An Israeli kid who would be arrested the way our juvenile justice system is supposed to work. The kid gets arrested, he's taken to a juvenile court with his parents being present. A lawyer is always present whenever he's questioned. The other kid's a Palestinian kid whose family has lived in the neighboring village for 10, 15, 20 generations. And he's doing the same thing. What happens to him? They arrest him at 2 o'clock in the morning. Parents are not told where he's being taken. He's taken inside Israel, out of the West Bank, and again in violation of international law. Interrogated in Hebrew, no lawyer, and they are brought to court in a military justice system. So you have two 12-year-olds doing the same thing, and two entirely different systems affecting them. Israel is the only country in the world that has a military...
And that's just the surface. That's just the surface level despotism. This is a very interesting article by, according to that Zionist that we had in the chat last weekend, Haaretz is basically the Fox News. You don't trust Fox News, do you? Trying to downplay all the articles that Haaretz has put out about Bibi Netanyahu and this connection to Hamas, etc. Haaretz, you can't trust Haaretz. You can only trust the Jerusalem Post. It's cute, right? I don't have. It's funny, right, when people do that, because it's like they're basically saying I don't have the time or energy to even pretend like I'm going to pick through this and find the falsehoods. I'm just going to say it's all fake. Literally everything. It's all fake. That's easier. That's easier. Oh, Haaretz? I disagree with Haaretz. You know, I don't like Fox News. I don't like Newsmax. But if they're you know, reporting on something that's true, I'll report it. I'll point out the bias. You know, they're usually spinning it in a way, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the central core of what they're talking about is fake. Maybe it's their recontextualization of it or whatever. Israeli military is a doctrine that intentionally aims to cause civilian casualties. Of course, there are many armies like that, but this sets Israel apart as they admit to it. Like, sheer openness is insane. Yeah, well, they removed the Hannibal Directive for a long time. Then they brought it back on October 7th, and I don't know if it's still there or not. But anyway, this is a very interesting article. This guy, I think he used to be IDF general. Who is this guy? I can't quite. He's associated with the IDF, I believe. I don't have time to read it, but he's making the argument that Israeli society is, you know, that there will eventually, because we're pushing Palestine too hard, we're going to force a massive coalition of Arab countries, and it's going to be, you know, it's not, you know, maybe it'll be another Nakba, who knows. But he's arguing that because of the brutality, we're not going to get, you know, the world isn't going to defend us. Hey, greetings from south of Boston. It's your boy, Lenny. Sorry, Lenny, I didn't mean to step on your toes there. I know you were streaming, and I forgot to tell people to go to your stream. I'm sorry about that. I hope it was a good stream, and I'm sorry if I was stepping on your toes. Sorry about that. But welcome back. It's good to see you from south of Boston. It's your boy, Lenny. Of course, accidentswaitingtohappen.com. Get to it, folks. #1 website on the internet. So it's a very interesting article if you want to read from an Israeli perspective, a person who was in Israeli government, and I think Israeli military. Excellent, Lenny. Excellent. Hear what their perspective is, how they think that this is negatively affecting Israeli society. How's it going? It's going well. I need to read this completely, so I'm not going to close out of this. I need to completely read it. Last few clips we have here. I don't know who this person is. I don't know if this guy's like a right-wing pro-Russian dude. I actually have no idea who he is, but I thought what he has to say here was pretty interesting, so I thought I'd play it for you. Michael Barenboim. Literally never heard of him, so I don't know. But let's hear what he has to say.
The German history that you are referring to is awful, but the people that are not responsible for this are the Palestinians. They have nothing to do with this. So, in a way, why involve the Palestinians into this if Germans have a guilty conscience? I'm a German too. It's not. I'm not counting myself out of this, but there's no reason for the Palestinians to suffer for something that the Germans did 70 or 80 years ago. And that's the first point. The second point is, from my perspective, I get up every morning. First thing I do, I look at my phone. How many hundreds of Palestinians have been killed today? How many hospitals destroyed? How many children, limbs amputated without anesthetic? You name it, it goes on. How little humanitarian aid is let in? How many bombs are flying? How many tanks are rolling? Israeli bombs. I find it hard to understand how the demand for an immediate ceasefire is not a consensus in the German or in the Western world. This is something I still don't understand. Yeah.
Well, it depends on what your definition of ceasefire is, because a lot of the all the Western governments are calling for a ceasefire, but what they're actually saying is that Hamas needs to give up. Palestine, the resistance in Palestine needs to give up and let Israel do whatever it wants. That's their version of a ceasefire. Now, I don't think we should be working with Hamas. I think, a technocratic government associated with the Palestinian Authority needs to be set up in Gaza, with the full security assistance of Israel and the West. A rebuilding needs to happen, right? Trillions of dollars is going to need to be spent to achieve what I'm talking about, which is why it'll never happen. Not the only reason, but one of the reasons.
So it kind of depends. He's talking about, well, I can't believe not everyone's calling for a ceasefire. It depends. It really does depend on the kind of ceasefire you're calling for, because, Putin is calling for a ceasefire. He would much prefer to take over Ukraine without any resistance. That would be the more humane thing to do. So.
See, I think there's a lot of support everywhere. Yeah, no, because
no, Tisrael. I mean, he's there. You know what I'm saying. Anymore, that is. Yeah, I guess just recently he did come out with some statements that says, as long as the Kursk thing is happening, we're not even going to entertain that. But you know what I'm saying? He's made statements of like, oh, we would love peace. I would love peace. What are you talking about? I want peace right now. Let's start the peace negotiations right now. Right? Which is basically him saying, let's start the capitulation agreement. Okay, what are you going to give me, for me to stop terrorizing you?
I think a lot of people understand this on an individual level, but there's this idea that if I criticize Israel, and I have done on numerous occasions, because frankly, I mean, they're in front of the International Criminal Court accused of genocide. It's not just me, right? If I criticize Israel for some reason, I am doing something wrong. I am being either anti-Semitic or I'm being unreasonable. Also, another misconception, I think, that is actually something that Israel tries to do all the time is to present itself as the only representation of Jewishness. I mean, I'm Jewish, right? I don't believe in God or anything like that, but I'm Jewish anyway. It's just how it is. But I don't want anything to do. That's just how it is. But it doesn't mean I want anything. I don't want to be represented by Israel, nor do I feel like I should be represented by Israel. Quite the contrary. So these two things are separate, and only because in Germany we have a fear of saying the things clearly doesn't mean that they're not clear.
Yeah, so just going back to what I said earlier, it's pretty offensive for Zionists to say that we represent all Jewish people, and then they commit heinous crimes. And they say, yeah, this is what Jews do. It's pretty heinous, and it fuels actual anti-Semitism, right? Because Nick Fuentes, creams his jeans looking at what he thinks other people think are Jewish people committing heinous crimes. He's like, yeah, see, Hitler was right. Yeah, see. And he couldn't be farther from the truth. Couldn't be farther from the truth. Bibi wants to keep the Philadelphia corridor so Gaza will be completely surrounded by Israel and could just be continuously squeezed. I think he's taken it. I think what, like I said before, I think the goal is to turn the whole area into a no man's land, and then eventually squeak in the settlers and make it totally intractable. We're not going to listen to this whole thing, maybe just 1 minute of it, but this is just a person from the UN pointing out that Palestine, for some reason, internationally, it's weird, but any other country, any other people from any other country, if they were being invaded or if they were being treated in the way that the Palestinians are being treated by Israel, no one would question their right to resist. But if you're Palestinian, you want to resist overt oppression, a literal apartheid state or an open air prison, you are considered a baby raping terrorist, and you're beneath human, you are not human, you're less than human, and you deserve utter and total brutality. That it's a phenomenon exclusive to the Palestinians.
But this is the first time I've ever heard that there's a need to condemn and say, yes, but of course they're suffering, but first we need to condemn.
Yeah, when talking about Hamas, right? That's a common criticism you see of shills for Israel when they get on the media. They say, "Oh, you're pointing out these horrible things, but you didn't even mention Hamas," and they're basically implying that you can't say anything about the crimes of Israel unless you are mentioning and putting it within the context of the crimes of Hamas. Which is fine if you just literally you want me just to admit, if that's what I have to say for you to accept criticism of your country, that's fine. But that's not what you're doing, right? You're not accepting the criticism. It's literally whatabouting. You're like, well, I know we commit crimes, but what about these guys? They're pretty bad.
Are we out of our minds? Condemning the resistance of the people who are being oppressed and killed, subjected to genocide.
You can't call Hamas resistance, even though they are resisting, but you can't call them like, it's not the same. They are legitimately holding the Palestinians hostage. They were voted in 20 years ago with the help of Bibi Netanyahu in an attempt to divide and conquer the Palestinian people, to make it easier to conquer them. They haven't had a legitimate election in 20 years, and a grand majority of the people that did vote for Hamas 20 years ago are fucking dead. A grand majority of the population in Palestine were under 18 when Hamas was voted in. They're never going to relinquish power. Technically they are a resistance, but technically they are also holding their people hostage. And they are definitely 100% a theocratic terrorist organization that cannot be trusted to run a government. The whole concept, the whole idea, some people from the left flirt with this idea that Hamas needs to be put back in charge of Gaza. Ludicrous. Totally ludicrous. They've proven themselves to be incapable of doing anything other than hoarding weapons and getting ready for the next intifada. Which is why I'm constantly talking about the technocratic government, assisted, by the Palestinian Authority. That's why I'm constantly talking about it, because that's the only really viable solution. What are you going to do? What, you're going to give Gaza Strip back to Hamas, and then what? Give Hamas a bunch of money to rebuild and watch them spend 80% of it on, give it directly to Iran to rearm themselves? Oh, who are we fucking kidding with this? So it's a little simplistic to just assume the Hamas as the legitimate resistance, because they are resisting, but it's way more complicated than that.
For 75 years, are we out of our minds? Are we out of our minds?
With that said, there are dozens of other legitimate resistance movements in Palestine, in the Gaza Strip, that are fighting against Israel that don't have associations with Hamas. It's complicated. It's one of the most complicated. The tribal reminds me of the trying to understand the Sunni and Shia situation in Iraq, right? I think that was Iraq.
Minds.
Sunni and Shia.
Are we outside of our minds when we let this ridiculous narrative take hold and spread, Phoenix, and then participate in it, nodding our heads like sheep? Oh, and by the way, yes, there is a genocide going on, and it's terrible. But first we have to condemn the Palestinians who dare to stand up. Palestinians who have shown an ability to sacrifice and amounts of courage.
It's more complicated than that. It is more complicated. We need the left needs to be able to articulate how untenable Hamas is as a government, and also how barbaric Israel is. I think I'm the only political commentator that's even talking about it. Maybe it's because my idea is so fucking ridiculous, so outside the scope of reality. Right, but a lot of the commentators like Hassan, lefty commentators, you got characters like Destiny that are just pro-Zionist because that's the easy route. I don't know if that's his reason, but Vosh, Hassan, kind of in a way legitimizing Hamas in a way. I don't know. I don't watch enough Vosh. Maybe he does have a more nuanced take than Hassan does. We need to do better. The left needs to do better, though, when talking about this. Okay, thank you, Tisrael. I'm not the only one saying it. Hassan is just anti-American. He's a moron. He's a moron. So we went over this Saturday. I showed some of these clips here, but I do need to show this one more time. I have to show this one more. I've talked a lot of shit about the democratic plurality in Israel agreeing with erasing Palestine. This is one of the most popular podcasts in Israel, called Two Nice Jewish Boys. And this is him saying the quiet part out loud. And he's like, hey, why, I'm done being a coward. I'm done being a coward. This is what I want. I want the elimination of these people. I want them out of here. He literally goes on to say, in a different clip, I believe, he goes on to say you know, when I go to like a dance party or if I go to like an event, it makes the event better knowing that the Palestinians are suffering. He literally says this. He literally says this. They joke about, oh, wouldn't it be great if we had a video screen of the live suffering of the Palestinians while we're like at a bar enjoying our drinks? Just comical. Like if I was an anti-Semite, if I was a Nick Fuentes and I wanted to make some kind of fake news, like with some actors who were just comically talking about, you know, these horrible things, you know, in a way, this is exactly how I would do it. Without a doubt, right? Just two guys casually talking about the full, complete elimination of a country.
What we're doing in Gaza. Because in Gaza, maybe there's mass destruction, but there's not massive death.
Well, Corporal Fly, you should not be ashamed to be Jewish, because this is not Judaism. This is Zionism. You do not allow the Zionists in Israel to associate all Jews with Zionism, with Israel, right? Because they want that to happen, and then they want their actions to be the actions of Judaism. And we can't give that to them.
Or deportation.
Anyway, so
deportation.
You know, when you sit on your high horse, and
kill 'em all.
You know, I'm sure I don't mean to belittle our listeners. We love you guys, but if you're listening to our words and saying, how could they be advocating to, you know, do massive bombing, indiscriminate bombing, you know, how could they talk about killing children? We're not advocating to target children, but forgive us if we don't give a shit. If, you know, everybody there dies. It's just the way we feel.
I mean, we're not monsters. We're not intentionally targeting children. But come on, I'm supposed to give a shit about dead kids? We want them all dead. I mean, it's just...
Target children, but forgive us if we don't give a shit. If, you know, everybody there dies. It's just the way we feel. It's just the way Israelis feel.
Yeah.
Because, and this is what I, you know, that's what the Hulon attack did. I wrote to Sharon, my wife. I was like, it'll be you or me tomorrow, or Daniela or Itai, God forbid.
Yep.
Yeah, after October 7th.
I would, if you gave me a
kill everybody
to just erase Gaza, every single living being in Gaza would no longer be living tomorrow, I would press it in a second. That's just, I think most Israelis
if that's
agree.
The choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, even if it's not like right now.
Yeah, no.
I would press it right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same with the territories.
I would press it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Western,
no choice.
West Bank, the territories, West Bank, right? No guilt. I'm such a badass. Look at this fucking noodle boy talking about how he's going to kill millions.
You know, Sharon is safe at home. God willing, I don't know. I haven't spoken to her in like an hour.
No, I'm saying for the chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would press it right now. Give me that button. I'd press it right now.
What a tough guy.
And I think most Israelis would.
Yeah. Most Jewish Israelis.
They wouldn't post. They wouldn't talk about it.
Most Jewish Israelis. I mean, obviously the Arab Israelis, I guess they'd have some kind of problem with us eliminating all the living people in Gaza, whatever.
Like I am.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't post. They wouldn't say I pressed it.
Yeah.
But they would.
They don't have balls of steel like you.
They would, but they would press it, right? Like if they were in a closet alone, they wouldn't even hesitate.
Mm-hmm.
Someone came to them and said, "No one will know. You press this."
So, Clutch Cargo asking a tough question. Wouldn't most Palestinians push such a button to destroy all Israelis as well? You know, I think, you know, that's a very good question, because let's look at the dynamic, though. We have one society that has convinced themselves they're the victims, that has convinced themselves that they're in constant danger. And they could, you know, he's talking about, oh, my wife could die any moment. You know, we could all die any moment. It could literally happen any second. But that's not the reality. And then we have a society that is literally being destroyed, killed en masse, incredible amounts of pain distributed.
it's a different context. That genocide button is a different context for that Palestinian who is, their family was killed. Maybe they are maybe they don't have their arm. You know, there's no future. There's no hope. So they're presented with that button versus a person in a safe society, right? Who has food and everything that they need, and them pushing that button against people who are starving, you know, impoverished. That whole thing, it's a different context for that button, right? Because for one side, that button is a relief of pain. For the other side, that button is, I don't know, gleeful genocide, gleeful colonization. No, I think honeymoon. I think it's fair to say if the, you know, because the Palestinians are, you know, if I push this button, that means no more bombs. If I push this button, that means no more apartheid. That means we can return our land to where it was if I push this button. Versus if I push this button, we get to take Gaza. If I push this button, we get to take the West Bank. We get to eliminate these human beings. We get to destroy them, get them out of our way permanently. It's two completely different contexts for that button. But I do think if you know, some random orphaned Palestinian child was given a button to make all the pain go away, to make all the Israelis go away, yeah, I think they would push it. And justification, what are we even talking about here? You know, we're talking about some magic button that will kill millions. You know, what are we even talking about justification here? But I think context is important. I think context is important, especially when you're talking about freedom and resistance and liberty. But that is a very tough question. Yeah, strategy member. That's a good point. Context and genocide ? There's no context that I could provide you that would convince you that what Israel is doing is wrong. Is that what you're saying, Sir Smoke a Lot? No, you've been here before. There's a video of a year-old Palestinian girl who lost most for her. Yeah, we showed the video, Lenny. Yeah, we showed. You might have seen the video here. Yeah, that was incredibly hard to watch. I don't have time for this video. This stupid, arrogant, religious person, I don't really have time to entertain his stupidity, so we'll do that next time. Sorry if you just showed up, Sir Smoke a Lot, but that's the end of the stream. Big props to you, Sir Smoke a Lot. Thank you for coming back. Lenny, coming back. Clutch Cargo. Miss a Neck 007. You might be new. Looks like you're just trying to have a nice conversation. Honeymoon, thank you for coming through. Clutch Cargo once again. Rebel Phoenix, Tisriel, strategy member. Thank you for coming in. Your boy Lenny. We'll look at boobs then. Good call. Purple Fly. Appreciate it. All you lurkers, thank you for lurking. You know, if you just, you know, making one or two comments. Ribbons, thank you for coming in. I'm sorry I didn't say hello initially. Thank you for coming back. Ribbons, I do appreciate it. We got your boy Chem Goblin. Thank you, Chem Goblin and Tisriel, all the way from Ukraine. Rebel Phoenix. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to Rebel Phoenix, folks. Woke Patriot, you're a badass. Thank you for coming in. Sorry you caught me at the very end. I wonder what if honeymoon. I see homonym. I see honeymoon. I do that for everybody. It makes it easier. Makes my life easier. Big props, Smash. You're probably right. It is homonym. It is homonym. Son of a bitch. It is homonym. You got me, strategy. Go figure. I'm not a genius. If you want smart, go to Vosh. He has all the answers. The Ponder Monkey, big props to you. Thank you for coming back. The Big Room, big props to you. Thanks for coming back, Big Room. Once again, props to Clutch Cargo. Johnny the Investor, he just left. He just left. See you later, Johnny Test. Bye. I was just like, I don't like you. Leave. And he left. Thank you. You know, I wish I never had to use that ban button. You suck. I don't like you. Bye. Yeah, okay. You're right. I suck. I'm leaving. Big props to Good Guy Dari. Thank you for coming back, Good Guy Dari. Big props to DJ Shea. Thank you, DJ Shea, for your comment, your single comment. Bulletproof Bullet. Thank you for coming back. He knew his place. Estonian, thank you for coming back. Appreciate it. Big props to you, Estonian. Female Eunuchs. Appreciate it. Anybody that suffered through the entire Gaza section, applause. You deserve applause. That was very... a lot of people just leave. It's just like one horror story after the other, you know? And it's not fun horror. It's not like movie horror. It's actual pain happening to children. I get it. You don't want to stick around. I get it. I don't even want to do it. Quite frankly, I wish I could just be like a lot of news commentators and just focus on Trump and Kamala every time I get in front of the, mic and just talk about Kamala and Trump the entire time. I'd probably have more viewers, too, if I did that. Big props to Never Forget, brother. Looks like Russia is winning the war again. No. Pokrovsk, hit me back when Pokrovsk is occupied. But Ukraine doing a lot to prevent Russia from taking Pokrovsk. And, of course, the Kursk offensive showing just how ridiculous Russia's claims of, we're so worried about an invasion is. We're so worried about an invasion, we won't even defend our borders. Ukraine is far from losing. I want Ukraine to win, though. Okay, Jaeger, you're just trying to be critical. Gonna stream the big debate? You bet. Oh, yeah, thanks for the reminder. So, yeah, the debate's happening tomorrow. I will be streaming it. I'll be doing a morning stream like you're seeing here. And then I'll have to take a break to pick up my kid, take care of my kid. It starts at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So that's 5 o'clock PST, I believe. So it'll be 5 o'clock-ish for me when I do it, starting 15 minutes before the start of the debate. But, yeah, we will be covering it here. If I got to cover it in the baby room, then I'll cover it in the fucking baby room. But yeah, tomorrow, unfortunately, Lenny, my kid, I have a daycare with my kid in the morning, so now I am freed up in the morning. I might do more morning streams. It won't be every morning for all week, but I will be doing more streams. I'm very sorry. Once again, I hope I don't step on your toes, and I apologize if I do. The stakes are pretty huge when it comes to the debate. I agree. Stakes are pretty huge. I think Kamala is going to do really well. I've seen evidence of Kamala. She has her facts in order. She's aggressive. She has like, a boss bitch attitude, kind of mentality, kind of aura. Thanks again, Lenny. I will, like I said, I'm gonna try not to step on your toes. I'm sorry about that. As they forgot to remove Joe's name. They forgot to wait, was this copy? Oh yeah, did it? So I do have it lined up. We will talk about it tomorrow. Rebel Phoenix, the website. I don't know if it's copy and paste from Joe Biden. It's technically more progressive economically than Joe Biden, but it is a lot of the same neoliberalism that we've come to expect from this decrepit party. 9 p.m. EST. 9 p.m. EST. I thought I saw it on CNN at 7. Oh, maybe that was what the coverage that I saw was the start of their coverage was 7. Okay, 15 minutes before I'll figure out the time. Okay, female eunuchs is correct. First of all, shut up. Female eunuchs is correct. It's going to be is it 2 hours difference? So it'll be 6 o'clock PST. 6 o'clock PST. 7 p.m. EST. I don't know. Everyone, I don't know, man. Time zones. All right, everybody. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. Glory to the Ukrainian democracy. We're going to win this one. Fuck Russia. And let's not forget the only thing that's ever worked. Political activism. Step 1, inform yourself. Step 2, put your name down, sign up for an organization. And step 3, put in the work. Time zones. Coogan swoop.
Fair-sized European states could be placed on its territory. Besides indigenous residents, that is the Komi people, there are also Russians, Ukrainians, Nenetses, Chuvashis, and Tartars.
Time zones.
And now let's go back into history a little bit.
Thank you, everybody.
A boy lying on skins behind our backs was turning the knobs of a small transistor radio.
Time zones.
And the tent was suddenly filled with an announcer's voice speaking Komi. Then with music from Moscow, followed by English and French speech.
The recording was made at the Moscow Theater of Musical Miniatures.
Now, back to modern times.
Your attention, please. At the recommendation of the International Time Bureau, commencing at 23 hours, 59 minutes, 60 seconds UTC, an extra second will be inserted into the NBS time scale. This adjustment is required to maintain internationally coordinated universal time as broadcast from these stations in close agreement with UT1 or astronomical time.